to your Cincinnati Bengals, who a year ago, very injury-filled for Joe Burrow, as in training camp, he hurt his hamstring, calf injury, goes down really early in training camp, I think like second or third day, really dealing with it throughout the whole season. They have injuries going all through the offensive line, the defense. They can't really catch a break. Burrow finally, starts getting healthy. They're starting to get into a rhythm until a Thursday night game in Baltimore. A touchdown pass to Joe Mixon. He breaks his wrist, tearing ligaments and all that kind of stuff. Season appeared to be over, but a man by the name of Jake Browning helps revitalize this team, kind of gets them really close to the playoffs. But a 9-8 record, despite not having Joe Burrow. You're missing T. Higgins with a hamstring injury. Jamar Chase was kind of in and out of the lineup. Yeah, in 2024, they're hoping to get back on track, try to climb up the ranks again. As we can go looking into the offense here. Amarius Mims is their first-round pick. He has a pec injury. He's going to be out for several weeks, and I know pec injuries are kind of the same as hamstring injuries. You don't know what they're going to be or how they're going to recover. It's kind of like a weird way of working that, but the offensive line, it's really the same. You lose Jonah Williams. He goes to Arizona. He's playing right tackle there for Kyler Murray. Trent Brown now comes in from New England to the Bengals. And yeah, no Tyler Boyd. I mean, reliable for Cincinnati. Always a part of that receiving core for so long. He's not there anymore. He goes to Tennessee. And they also lose Callahan, who now becomes the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And, well, may as well mention this too. Joe Mixon, not there anymore. Zach Moss, Chase Brown, Chris Evans. There's newness in the backfield, which we haven't seen in a very long time. But that's all I have to say on this team. And who knows what's going to happen going forward with the Cincinnati Bengals.
So is this the first camp and offseason that Burrow's been healthy since the Super Bowl year?
He played only 3 snaps in, well, I shouldn't even say healthy. I mean, he was coming off of that wrist injury, so.
Well, he was coming off the ACL the rookie year, too. He healthy for camp.
As healthy as he could be, yeah, because last year or 2 years ago, he had appendicitis. Last year was the calf. COVID was his rookie year. The ACL was his second year. And he already played, I think, like double the amount of snaps he's ever played in the preseason, so.
So he had back-to-back calf injuries too in the preseason. He was starting.
Yeah, like last season was a calf injury. Then the appendicitis was the season before that. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
I remember that first 4 weeks, 2 seasons ago, he looked terrible and then became Joe Burrow again.
This team's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know. Running back situation got worse, I guess. Zach Moss isn't bad. I'm not calling him bad. He's just Joe Mixon worked really well in this offense, and they did well with him. And Tyler Boyd, I feel like, is a loss no matter who you put there pretty much as a third wide receiver, because he's basically like the most reliable, best third wide receiver in the league every year, pretty much, I feel like. So I don't know if this team got worse. I wouldn't say that they got better. But I also don't know how much it matters, because it's like Joe Burrow and the Bengals and like same head coach, same pretty much everything. Like, I don't know. I expect this team to play well. I expect it to be still, any team that goes up against this team, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be, you're going to have to play to beat this team no matter what. So I don't know.
Team's difficult in Madden, especially this one. Forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, this team is very, very good offensively. I mean, you know what you're getting. It all comes down to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's healthy, they are competing for the division. If not, if Joe Burrow gets hurt, they are going to be at the bottom of the division, just like a lot of the teams in this division. They're quarterback-driven. Cleveland. If it's any of these other teams, if it's Baltimore, they lose Lamar, they're screwed. If it's the Bengals, they lose their quarterback, they're screwed. So
I wouldn't even say if the Bengals are screwed. I mean, like Jake Browning played really good. Like down
they're not going to win the division. That's my point. They're not going to win the division, and they didn't win the division or make the playoffs without Joe Burrow. So that's kind of what makes this team go. I mean, just like the rest of the league. I mean, let's be serious here. All comes down to the quarterback. We all know how good Joe Burrow is. If he's healthy, they're legitimate contenders. And this is probably one of the last seasons you'll get with this tandem of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, because Lord knows what they're going to do with T. Higgins when it comes to paying him. But I will say, while we're on the offense still, the addition of Mike Gesicki, I love that for them. I feel like Joe Burrow used the heck out of his tight ends. The fact that he's got a legitimate tight end in Mike Gesicki, I think that could be a piece for them going forward. I think someone mentioned last week a fantasy option to look out for. That's a fantasy tight end that you can actually write late in your books. I think that could be really good for you and Mike Gesicki.
And you don't have to worry about like the run blocking too with Gesicki either, because this isn't like a run first team. Like this is a pass first team. And I know
that's what I'm saying. This is strong. He's a very underrated pickup.
I liked him in New England, honestly. Obviously, we didn't have much to offer him, which was unfortunate. It just was what it was. You
only paid him $9 million to.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys also don't really use tight ends that can't block. Like they don't see the field in New England.
And we still had Hunter Henry ahead of him. Like it was what it was. But we used him at times, Gesicki, and he caught the ball and he would play, and I liked him when we used him. It just wasn't often, and it was what it was. We didn't have much to offer him.
Will's laughing just like me with that description. I know Will laughing
at him. He catches
He catches the ball.
I mean, that's the job description.
What you want? I don't know. He didn't make.
That's what he has on the Indeed resume there. Throw the ball to me. I will catch the ball.
What are your skills? Catching the ball,
running with the ball, hopefully scoring the ball.
He didn't make mistakes, and that's really what mattered. It's not.
That's what I'm saying. He's gonna be. I think that's an underrated signing. If you look at like an underrated pickup, kind of like not splashy, like a Stephon Diggs type of Gesicki at tight end, because Joe Burrow always uses tight end from Uzama to Semple last year to now Mike Gesicki, who's like a legitimate receiving threat. So I think that's a big move.
And he's a tall guy. He get up and grab the football.
That's a big threat for them.
Can I hype up a receiver
too?
Am I able to hype up a receiver here?
Hype up a receiver?
Yeah.
Are you going the same place I am?
The slot guy right there, Andre Josifach, Ivy Leaguer out of Princeton.
Oh, no.
He's going to be a big guy. He's going to do work this year. I think he could really fill in that Tyler Boyd role of 50, 60 catches, 600-700 yards, maybe 800 yards, handful of touchdowns. 4 to 7.
See, I was going with Charlie Jones, the Purdue product. Like, because
I think the Ivy Leaguer's better though. I'm just saying.
That's Charlie Jones is like the next incarnation of like Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, look who's a free agent right now. Hunter Renfrow.
That's funny. The Saints should have signed him for Carr. Different team, but whatever.
But Hunter Renfrow for those couple of years was sick.
Yeah. He was a great route runner.
Thanks,
Josh. Showed that one route that he ran like every other week for like a year.
Cut in and back out. Yep.
Yeah. So
Clemson's national championship touchdown right there. I don't really have much else in this offense. I mean, receiving battles after T. Higgins and Jamar Chase is going to be the interesting piece, and then when will Mims get back into the lineup from his pec injury is going to be a thing to be seen. So.
It's really what Colton said. If Joe Burrow is healthy, this team's good. It doesn't matter. That's just kind of where it's at.
Yeah, as long as they have really Burrow and then Jamar, that connection is too nuts to stop.
And as long as the O-line is better than like the Super Bowl year, then he's fine. I mean, so he made it to the Super Bowl on like a terrible O-line. So the O-line's still not even, it'll be what we expect it to be, I'm sure. So, defense.
Let's shift over to the defense here, where they may. I think this is the most underrated pick on their defense, though, is the addition of Geno Stone, who was a ball hawk in Baltimore. I know we talked about this during free agency and all that stuff. I know Jake really liked the move there. You had to replace what's his face that went to Atlanta. Drawing a blank on him. If anyone could pull up the name really quick, but. Geno Stone, Von Bell returns after a very brief stint with the Carolina Panthers. The secondary slowly becoming one again. Cam Taylor-Britt's going to be, rising the ranks there. DJ Turner as well, because, Woozy's now in Nashville with the Titans as well. And also let's not forget here, Sheldon Rankins from Houston. He shifts in. He goes from Houston to Cincinnati here. Really kind of fills in that void on the defensive front there.
I actually like this defense a lot. I like the line. I don't mind the secondary at all. I feel like this whole starting roster are guys that can genuinely play. I don't mind it
It's a
at
lot
all.
more depth than I was expecting.
Yeah. It's a filled out defense for sure.
Like, there's a lot more depth than I was expecting. Just solid players who, worst case scenario, they come in, you're not worried about them.
Yeah. Colton, how do you feel as being in this division? How do you feel about this defense?
It's a solid defense. Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade this offseason as well. It doesn't seem like they're going to move him because, again, same thing like with T. Higgins. There's no point in doing this. This team is kind of like a final dance team. This team, I think, could look very, very different after this offseason. And by the way, the safety you were talking about was Jesse Bates.
Yes.
So it's the safety that went.
Hawk.
But, yeah, I mean, this is it's a very good defense. I love Trey Hendrickson. I actually thought that guy that the Jets should have picked up when it came time.
I know a guy that they could trade to get him.
I hate you. Please keep your Jets nonsense out of this.
You mentioned the Jets. I had a comment there.
Their back end is really good. Like, this is a very, very good defense. I think Logan Wilson's one of the most underrated middle linebackers in the game. Jermaine Pratt, you know what you're getting from him. Like, this is a legitimate, solid AFC North defense. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is a legitimate AFC North defense right here.
Let's also not forget, too, Chris Jenkins, though. Although he's not a starter on this team, I know they're going to be rotating their defensive guys. If he's anything like his father, forget about it. Forget about it. Chris Jenkins, his dad was a baller playing for the Panthers and the Jets. And if he can even fill in those footsteps that, his dad left after playing in the league. Yeah. Good luck.
Like, they have a legitimate front. They have a legitimate front and a very solid back end. Like, this is a legitimate team. This is definitely an AFC North defense. When you go through, the whole AFC North, they're loaded up on defense. It's a slugfest.
But that's the identity. That's AFC North in a nutshell. I mean, it just is every single year. AFC North, every defense you are against in the AFC North, you have to compete. Like, they are not letting you win games easy no matter what. That's how it's always been. That's always been the identity. It's never changed. So this is very much on par.
There's a little bit of that, rotating defensive line going on, too.
Yeah.
Where they can just sub guys out and keep them fresh.
Yeah,
I know that's going to be needed, especially when you're playing against your rivals in the North.
Yeah.
You're going to need that. And then
a guy like Lamar, who had to chase after him a lot.
It's true.
Yeah.
Even Russ. Russ is not, he moves.
Is he starting? We'll get to that.
All right, let's
Before we get to the schedule here, Jake. I know your eyes were hurting yourself last week, so we made sure this was as family friendly as possible for the schedule. I found this, okay?
Stupid. This schedule.
So I'll blame you if I can't read it.
No, you can. A kindergartner could probably read it because it was built by one. Look at the Patriots logo up here. What the heck is that, dude? No, there's the Steelers logo.
The Steelers logo. Dom and I split the Commanders one since we're fake fans.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, the Commanders logo. The Eagles one's at the top, but it's cut off. I was trying to find a better one where the Eagles one wasn't, half on the screen.
Is that the Titans on the left?
That's the Titans logo.
That's what we've been waiting for. Easy to read schedule.
And then there's Tony the Tiger or whatever his name is right there at dead center.
Mascots versus the Pop Warner players.
Such a weird, random schedule, bro.
I really like the beginning of the schedule. I mean, besides you got to play the Chiefs and the Ravens. In the first 6 weeks, you could really go 4-2, and if you can flip one of those games early, you could possibly go 5-1, and you could really start right in your season as it's going. I can already chalk up the Browns as a loss for them because they can't play the Browns for whatever reason. Joe Burrow is just awful playing the Browns.
Who decided week 2 should be Kansas City versus them? That should have been week 15.
I mean, they did that last year. Look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they get that one, though.
It's very possible.
Joe Burrow healthy.
Yeah.
I think they take that one.
It's possible as hell.
I'm not scared of them facing the Patriots, the Commanders, Panthers, Giants, Raiders.
They have one
6-2. I have them as the
going in the bye.
No, going the first 2 rows.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned this last year, but the AFC North, realistically, you can go 3-3. I mean, that's all the teams, despite them being 9-8, they did go 1-5 in the division.
Mhm.
If they are able to switch one of those games with like Pittsburgh, maybe one of the Ravens games, then maybe we could have seen the first ever division, all 4 of them making the playoffs at the same time.
Bro, I have an easy 10 wins, like an easy double-digit schedule, I feel like.
Yeah, I think if Burrow's healthy,
Yeah, Burrow's healthy. They win 10 games easily.
easy.
Mm.
Like not.
All
Like,
it comes down to, man. The problem is with him is you have injury history, so it's like, okay, it's 10 wins, but it's
Yeah.
that's how the team
What's
is.
ailing him during the season?
yeah,
That's
it's
good.
Always something. I mean, there's always something. with them.
What is
What?
I mean,
the white? Is the white?
white is
away.
the way,
Away.
and then the black background is home.
All right, that Steelers game could be rough at the end of the season if they need
Well,
that
both
game.
of them are going to be rough. I mean, Steelers
Well,
in December, forget about it. That's a good
That's what
football
I'm
team.
saying.
if they need that game for first place,
Yeah,
All-
that's what I'm saying. That's going to be cold. That's going to be rough. That's going to be an insane game if they need that game. If they have to play in that game,
that's a game where you just get where everyone gets hurt.
that's brutal, bro. That's a tough ending to any season for the Steelers and for the Bengals, both ways. That's brutal. But other than that, I mean, like, yeah, double digit 10 is your floor. If Burrow's healthy, I think 10 is easily your floor, and then you can work from there if you steal some of these games. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
you know what's bothering me? Everything about this, I mean, we're back to the schedule thing here. The font of this 2024 schedule thing is all cool and whatnot until I get to the U, and the U bothers the hell out of me. Everything
The S,
looks
the
fine.
S didn't bother you. The fact that the S looks like a 5 that didn't bother you.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But that U is just like you did all capital letters and then you did something with this U, and it's just like, bro, I don't know. The schedule.
Is the fact that it's kindergarten the reason why I could read it?
I thought of you. I was like, okay, I need to make sure Jake can read it and not turn out to be Dom where he's squinting the entire time and just damaging